Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Weekly Games Chat. I'm your host, Chris, as always, joined by my co-host, Shaun.
Hello, how are you fine people doing in the world?
And John.
The moments you can't share with the audience.
They'll never know.
Has the show ever started with a laughter from John before Chris?
I don't know.
I think that was the first time.
There's a first for everything.
Yeah, there is.
Still waiting for mine.
Sean.
Yeah, what's up?
I went to the Holy Land.
You did go to...
I saw the prophet himself, and his message was pure.
Coach Mickey Sabian?
No, not him. No. That's God.
Okay.
That's God. His prophet is Tua.
Yeah. Tua.
And it did not take long for me to get the first dose of his word.
Yeah.
As he hit Devontae Smith for 40 yards.
You should know Devontae Smith, John.
Yeah, he's the one second and 26.
Did you go?
I was performing the thing I do on the weekends.
Yeah.
Who did you go with?
One G. Sanders.
Thanks for inviting me.
Well, we had 2 tickets.
That's your stick, John. I like when you do that.
That's his shtick. I
That's
stole
your,
it from him.
but
He's been saying that to me for 10 years.
Yeah. That's, well,
Gosh,
you
no,
say
I think that's actually
13 years.
You
to be
say
fair,
it a lot.
be fair, yeah, I was about to say, I think in all of our group, that's our stick. Like everyone in our group does it. If
I don't do it.
It's a.
Let's go to the chape.
I don't do it.
Let's go to the chape.
The chape. Water's wet.
I want to thank you on air, John, for buying my beverage for this evening.
Yeah, it's good. I peed in it.
Yeah, you did. And you put it between your crotch. Indeed.
But yeah, it was a fun trip. It's been first time
it was hot, dude.
Yeah, we got saved because about 30 minutes before kickoff, there was a light shower that rolled through and dropped the temp down to 70. So even though it rise back up, obviously, it wasn't terrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know how I found out he was going to the game? I texted him and asked him to do me a favor.
And he was at the game.
He said, "I'm heading to the game."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm literally.
You know how I found out he was going to the game?
How?
I got an instant message that said, "Buddy,
Nah.
I'm going to Mecca."
That's what we call Tuscaloosa.
Yeah. So I knew he was going.
Yeah.
I was offered those tickets, but I also, again,
I figured you might.
had a thing.
Well, I watched the Georgia game kind of uncomfortable
For a little
bit
while.
of the time.
Little while.
But
For a little while.
and I thought to myself, going against this team that's not, from what I understand, not very highly ranked.
Well, they were
Mizzou.
undefeated.
Yeah.
They weren't ranked.
And if you know anything
Well,
about the history of
I
Missouri, like Missouri has a freaking record of just out of nowhere upsetting Georgia
Yeah.
because they usually get overlooked by them.
Well, and Aiden was like just relieved that they were winning. I'm like, don't be too sure because
Yeah.
the coaches poll and the national poll can vote on how they perform in a game. And luckily, there was virtually the same point spread between the Alabama game and the Georgia game, virtually. So I was like, well, I'm okay now.
It's one of those things like right now it doesn't really matter too much.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you're not getting beat by 4 touchdowns, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Just win. Pray
Yeah.
you don't drop one, and then
Even if
you'll
you do,
see where you
it's-
are in a month.
the playoffs.
Playoffs.
The playoff system has really made me not laugh at the early rankings and all that stuff because eventually they do kind of matter.
Yeah,
But I mean,
it used to be such a bigger deal.
yeah, but
Now, as long as Alabama can bribe somebody to get into the playoffs, that's
don't
cool.
do that.
I can do it because I'm joking.
Don't do that.
Why, are we going to get letters?
I don't know that we'll get letters, but I'll put your head through a wall.
If we get Pam from Tuscaloosa or
New
whatever.
threat, please.
It's my new thing. I'm putting heads through walls.
That's not challenging. That's just sheetrock.
This next month, after this week, next month starts like Heartbreak Month because that's the month where
People
you
have
start
to lose.
Yeah, like this weekend, I think is Ohio State and Penn State play.
So somebody
there's-
has to lose that game, John.
And Stanford and I want to say Washington are playing this weekend.
Washington's
So-
going to win.
Washington.
So there are 2 teams
beat-
that are likely going to get knocked down a peg, if not out. The only person who's been knocked down a peg right now, I'd say that is still hurting, that they're not out of it, is Auburn, just because of the loss. But they can recover.
We'll see.
Yeah. They beat us, they would get, in Georgia, they'll definitely have a shot, right?
They did it last year.
Yeah.
And then they lost the one game that mattered. Love it.
That's fun. What else did you guys do?
I watched 2 shows over the course of the weekend. I watched first Maniac on Netflix, which is the limited series with Jonah Hill and Emma Stone.
Yep.
that is really weird but really good. It almost feels like a little bit like Michel Gondry, if you've ever seen his kind of things like Eternal Sunshine, Spotless Mind. Like, it has a unique aesthetic going to it. But if you want something, if you don't mind things that are a little bit depressing but also funny at the same time, highly recommend. But my winner of the weekend, I had watched the first episode and I finally came back and watched the full episode or season on Stars, which we all know that Shaun probably has because it's the only way you can watch Spider-Man.
He's back in.
Yeah. Got it.
Yeah.
Counterpart is on there. It's J.K. Simmons, and it's like this cool show where the idea is at some point during the Cold War, like towards the end of it, there was a science experiment that went wrong. And basically split into Earth into two realities that then diverged into separate timelines.
They stole that from Ocarina of Time.
Or the Flash.
And like, so there's this building that was built upon on top of it, like where that happened was made a UN point. And like, there's a walkway where you can cross between two realities, and it's about.
Well, that's nice for convenience.
It kind of like goes through negotiation, but like it starts off kind of slow, but then once it gets going, like the mysteries,
kind of like this show, huh?
I blame
really
the
good.
schools.
But yeah, that's probably that's one of the best new
Cleveland.
That's probably one of the best new shows I've seen.
Speaking of Cleveland, John,
yeah,
they won a game.
They did. They finally did.
People got free beer. It was great.
Did he curse?
Baker. I don't think so.
Did you curse?
I thought I heard effing.
Effing. Well, that's not a curse. That's effing.
No, I didn't want to say it again.
Fracking.
I don't know, man.
Tony apparently mentioned me in a comment.
That's outstanding.
Good
well,
job.
those are.
Was that on Facebook where other people could find us?
Probably.
I saw advertising for that show while I was watching a Hulu show. What is it called again?
The first?
J.K. Simmons. Show.
Counterpart.
Okay.
Counterpart.
It looked interesting.
I still need to watch that movie that he was in about drumming.
Oh, Whiplash.
Yeah.
That's a really good movie, too.
It was pretty good.
He was also
Very
in
good.
Spider-Man.
He was.
It's the guy who... Did you ever watch La La Land?
No.
I didn't know if you watched it with your
Yeah,
wife.
watch that crap.
You know I didn't watch that movie.
Well, that's his first movie. Is the director's first movie. Is that. And then...
It's funny because I just burped and it smelled like when you open bologna, but I haven't eaten bologna.
And
Next
then,
time, please burp in my face.
It's the same guy who's doing The First Man, the one on
Oh,
Neil
yeah.
Armstrong. It's the same director.
I do want to see that movie. Do you want to see that movie?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What movie?
I've heard First Man.
Okay.
On Neil Armstrong.
Yeah. Well, you know.
You're like, oh God, doesn't
you
have
don't
a
think-
flag.
no,
Oh God.
You don't think the moon
Yeah.
happened?
Apparently, it's gotten.
That's what I said.
Is that what it is, John?
It's
Well,
apparently
if you can make it look like that in a movie, of course they faked it, because they obviously didn't film it on the moon.
That's true. It's gotten very high reviews, though.
No, I'm sure it is.
Well, then you're in.
I mean, if you don't put
mean
an
that as a
American
joke.
flag in a movie, people tend to love it.
Wait, they didn't put the flag in the movie?
They didn't put the planning scene in the movie because, I don't know, I guess
They
there's a
didn't
lot
they
in
didn't
Neil Armstrong's life that they wanted to cover. Like, there's a lot of cool
they didn't.
things.
They
about his
did. They
life.
didn't.
That's a big thing.
They didn't
sure.
feature the flag. In
What's
the
more
film.
important, though? Hold on. What's more important, planting the flag or small step for man, one giant leap for mankind?
The fact that the United States beat the Russians.
Okay.
That's important.
Sure. That's fair.
That is extremely
That's
important.
probably not the most important thing, I'm sure, to the life of Neil Armstrong.
Oh, speaking of Russians, my brother got a call on his cell phone from someone
What
in
the heck?
Russia.
Hello.
He didn't
Hello.
answer.
Would
Then
you
he
like
called
some
back. He
vodka?
called back and nothing happened.
Nice.
That's the end of the story.
Okay. That's probably a smart move.
Yeah. I was
Hey.
like, dude, don't call Russia.
But this weekend,
What? We're calling Russia?
I texted Chris and I said I need some help
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
because I read online, and you know how that goes. That let me backpedal. This has to do with my wife's Diablo save.
Your wife.
I realized I had not beaten the campaign
That's
yet,
good.
and I needed to beat the campaign in order to unlock adventure mode, because a lot of the trophies she has left reside in the adventure mode.
Yeah,
Okay.
like doing the dailies and all that.
Yeah, exactly. So I read online. I slogged for a couple of hours on Friday night, going, okay, all right, fine. So I looked it up and said, is there a way to do this easier? And I read that if you link up with somebody like Chris, who has or you or who has the characters and stuff, and you just jump in with that guy, and they beat Malthus, the Reaper of Souls guy, it immediately unlocks adventure mode for you. So, Sean, I didn't realize you had beaten the game. Okay, all right.
I'm
so
not
you're making me feel guilty for no reason.
Well, you just never call me to play video games.
I call you all the time. You just asleep.
No, you lie out loud on microphones where people
I don't
can
call
hear
you
it.
that much.
I call you more than you call me.
You think so?
Yeah.
You
Let's
sure?
have an on-air riff.
No.
Let's do it.
I don't want to. So
But-
I text Chris and ask him for a favor, and he goes, I'm at the Alabama game. So I go, all right. So I played 6 hours of Diablo 3, and I beat that whole campaign that weekend.
It's not, I mean, it doesn't take that long.
It does.
Especially once you've leveled up.
It gets extremely boring if you're trying to play it.
On regular?
No. It gets extremely boring if you're trying to play it without personalizing the character.
Sure.
Or going on side missions. Or skipping through cutscenes because you don't want to. I almost upgraded Paragon levels and stuff like that. And she goes, "Don't do that." Like, what are you talking about? Because if you do that, I can't go in and change it. So basically, that means I wanted to make sure that I am, doing the game without really manipulating the game, so that she can still have the game to do what she wants with it. But anyway, that's what I did.
Cool.
I finally beat Tomb Raider. So
enjoy.
I think so. I think overall it was a really great experience.
You mean the Tomb Raider what you guys talked about last week?
Yeah, I finished it.
I'll probably
And now I'm trying to finish Spider-Man now.
So fun. Still.
I had a couple of friends who finished that this week.
Tomb Raider?
Spider-Man.
Speederman,
yeah. I'm trying. I think that's going to be my goal because I kind of took a break from Shadow to focus on what we were talking about here because I really had to take a break from that because of Spider-Man and Shadow Tomb Raider, right? So now my goal is to go back and
you gotta go back.
I gotta go back and focus on that because after that, pretty much next Friday,
you're done.
Next Friday, it starts to. It's going to be.
Yeah, I'm trying to enjoy these 2 weeks while I got.
Or I guess Tuesday, a week from today, because that's when Forza will be out on Xbox Game Pass. Pass.
Yeah.
Power of 95 billion teraflops. If you've got an Xbox One X.
Yes.
You gonna play Forza with us, Sean? But you love Forza 3. We went all over Australia together. Remember? He's slowly remembering. I need to ask.
You can see his eyes, and it's coming back, and there's starting to get a twinkle in there.
I need to ask because I believe the whole entire thing with the Xbox is, of course, like anything that's exclusive to them is play anywhere, right? So I need to ask Mike if he wants to get Game Pass and come back too. Because he had a blast playing that game too.
He doesn't have an Xbox anymore. I wouldn't do that. He
could play it on his PC, is what I'm saying.
He traded that in too because
he traded his PC in?
Because it had to do with Xbox.
Oh, okay. But we'll see. Sean, you got anything?
Let's wrap this up.
I don't got anything.
You had a gig and that was it?
Tell me about your gig.
It was good. It was, I played at a new place, which I like to do.
Yeah.
It was a wedding, so I love those coming together. But this place was a hot box. It was a nice venue. I'll show you pictures and whatnot, but it was if you were inside, but it didn't have air conditioner and it had like doors you open to let the outside air come in. It was very humid.
Were you so sweaty?
Dude, it was ridiculous how sweaty I was.
How sweaty were you?
So sweaty.
Could I wring your shirt into my mouth?
I did. I actually wring my shirt out when I got home. How much did you, we're not going to assume alcohol. We're just going to say, how much did you think?
We really didn't drink that much.
But I drank like 5 waters, 2 Powerades, and maybe a glass of tea and a Red Bull.
While I was sitting up there,
I never peed.
While I was sitting up high, and I mean, it was a requirement after it did start to warm up. I had 2 sodas and a bottled water.
2 soda paps?
Isn't that gross to think about? You didn't pee.
But all that came in. Yeah.
It all came out of your pores. You peed out of your pores.
That's not true because
I know it's not true.
John, because
I get it, but it's
John.
You just ruined the bit.
I know. That was intentional.
I'd be willing to bet. Like when I left the place we pre-gamed at, we didn't go to Houndstooth because that was way too. That was way too packed. I can't remember the name of the
It's
place.
just so funny
Red
that
something.
when I say pregame means totally different than what he just meaned.
But
He meaned.
but anyways, I want to say I was.
Hey, grammar.
Let's put it this way: I was starting to feel buzzed. Like probably the best thing I could have done to really keep it up would have been to grab a beer for walking, but I didn't do that.
Chris, buzz driving is drunk driving.
I was walking.
Oh,
Buzz walking.
Anyway,
buzz walking.
But by the time like I gotten up to our seats and everything like that, and definitely after the first quarter, it had been whatever I drank was already sweated out of me. Yeah.
Do you guys, either of you, when you drink a beer and you do start to get a buzz but then stop, do you guys get headaches?
Every now and then,
I do. I don't know what that is.
It's dehydration.
Yeah.
I don't like how you say dehydration. I got to be honest. I want to punch you in the throat when you say
dehydration.
You don't want to throw my head through a wall?
This I want to particularly punch you in the throat.
Jeez. Ouch.
Because of how I say dehydration.
You said it better that time.
Yeah. First time you said dehydration.
Dehydration?
Oh, there it is again.
Dehydration.
I'm seeing red, John.
Ooh.
I'm seeing red.
That's funny. Speaking of seeing red,
you ready to see some buckets?
there's a bunch of red right there on that screen because that's our voices.
That is our voices.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
John, your voice goes from there to here to there and stuff.
That's interesting.
It is. You ready to talk about some stuff?
Yeah. You can go check out. I already know what's going to happen in this conversation. Just so much checking out.
Oh, just go ahead and power on through, Chris.
Yeah, let's take it to the topic.
Topic time.
The topic is everyone's favorite thing in the world. Sean's ecstatic.
Yeah.
My favorite part, I posted the image for this week's, and Clay, who writes usually every week, whenever I post the image, he just goes, "Oh no!" And I went, "Mwah." But for lack of other options, it's NBA 2K19.
Is it good?
Yeah. I mean, it's always good.
There was a VR game that came out that I wanted to play with a friend of the show, Jeff.
Oh,
it was called.
Could do it next week.
It's not Fireteam Bravo, but it's in the vein of that. It's actually out, and we can't believe it. And I was thinking, I saw it today, and I was like, man, this could have been the topic. But like you said, maybe next week, huh?
Well, I mean, in fairness, I've known Chris a long time.
Yeah.
And one thing I've known about him, he never really truly commits to a game
like he does.
The way he commits to NBA 2K.
Yeah. Year in, year out. For sure.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to buy that game virtually every year, barring a 20 on Metacritic. You know what I mean? It would take a lot for you not to buy it.
For sure. It would probably be more likely that I would buy it and be like, this is garbage. And then the next year it'd be like, I have to wait.
And my final question of this segment will be...
That's funny.
No. I'm sorry. I know how that meant. My final question, so I want you to think about it when you talk about it.
Okay.
I want you to tell me, because of what I just informed the audience, tell me what it is that keeps you coming back and keeps you drawn in and sucked into this game for the past
I'd
decade.
lead off with that, Chris.
If not,
sure.
I don't know. I mean,
well,
do what you want to do, I guess.
I'll say, like, 2K itself has a lot to offer for fans of basketball, whether if you just want the traditional 5-on-5, there's...
I love a good 5-on-5.
You can, pick up and play a game online. Or
I wouldn't know what to do with all that.
There's so much customization as far as, like, if you wanted to go out there and just play a season and do custom things with that, or if you want to be a GM, if you want to kind of create your own team. Like last year was even real crazy. I haven't checked to see if you could do it. Like last year, you could sit there and customize your league to a point where you could create a team.
Yeah.
And, you could create a team in there and you could, yeah, here's video of the game for you for this year's story if you want to get it
while he's talking.
Yeah. But, you could create a team and then like you could go online and people would like, I played as the Maryland Terrapins in the season last year because I downloaded their court. I downloaded all their uniforms and customized them to my players. And like or to my team,
it's like. Is that a real team?
Yeah, that would be a University of Maryland.
He said Terrapins a little funny. He said
Terrapins.
He said Maryland Terrapins.
Here's the turtle. But like the fact that, there's no basketball or college basketball game out there, and the fact that they allow you to have that kind of creation, there's a lot there. Some people like it because of things like, my team, which is kind of the equivalent of MUT or FUT for those who play FIFA or Madden. But me personally, I've gravitated to it because its career mode is just heads and shoulders above everything else out there. Like you've seen the last couple of years, EA and throughout their NHL game, their FIFA game, and Madden, and I think they may be doing something in Live now too, where they've started to figure out how to do a career mode that has a narrative and all those kinds of things. They got a lot of praise last year for the journey on Madden. But as much as I enjoy those, 2K just does it better than anyone else in a way that every single year, and I think everyone should adapt this thing, because it kind of showed this year that the whole entire carrying over a narrative thing doesn't really add up. But every year it's like they give me a new type of unique story perspective of what it's like to ascend the ranks of NBA stardom. They give me the ability to put myself in the game and have different unique experiences tied to that. And they give me a career mode that consistently makes me want to come back just to see how far I can progress it. Like right now, I'm in the early stages of it, so it's about grinding out the things that and making the things that my player can do exceptional when he gets to the all-star level, get those abilities. So I'm doing that, but in the process, it's also like meeting with Foot Locker and Nike and deciding, what shoe contract do I want? Who do I want to go with? What kind of incentives do I want for that deal?
I want them LeBron, Joe.
I got free LeBrons because I got the LeBron edition. They gave me all these LeBrons.
You got I thought you
not the shoes.
I thought he got LeBrons. I was like, what?
Yeah. And they give you, I have a deal with Gatorade right now, for certain things. And, as you eventually get to a point where like you're getting in the All-Star game and all that kind of talk is coming up in my season right now. I'm number 2 in the voting.
Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah, there's a lot of people in this year's game.
Man needed a job.
Ginger Gonzaga, dude.
The thing that's crazy. The thing that's crazy about this year is it seems like they took from EA the one thing, which is like they really had a very focused narrative, and instead of making it something that played out the course of the first couple seasons of your career, which is the way they usually do it, they instead kind of combine the majority of it into what is known as the prelude, which is this part when you're in China, and then like your first year when you're in the G League, when you come back stateside. And as such, they were able to go out there and get a lot of pretty decent voice actors and players to be in this. Like Anthony Mackie from freaking Avengers is in this game. Mm-hmm. Old Falcon. Blake Jenner, who I know from, he was like in probably the biggest thing most people will know him from is Edge of 17. He was the main guy from that. There's Michael Rappaport, Rob Hubel, who's from Upright Citizens Brigade, is fame is like your head coach in it. There's I cannot remember the guy, but he played Voodoo Tatum on Friday Night Lights, and he plays kind of your main adversary / friend in this one. And it just does a good job of, one, taking, for those who don't like the narrative part of this and they just want to build their character and their career, it's focusing all that story stuff into about a 4-hour window at the very beginning where you can skip all of it if you want. But for the rest of us, it's giving us a really realistically defined story to watch and play out and give a different perspective of what it's like to be in the NBA. So last year, they kind of went with a more jokey setup. You're this guy, DJ. You had this kind of cliche sidekick that was this woman that was just almost annoying at times because of the way she behaved. She was just like, larger than life character.
So you don't create your character and jump into the story. Your story is a set character provided by the developer?
No. You do create your character and you create everything about it. That's another big difference from EA's stuff.
Okay.
But you start off at the same place every time. So like last year you were, Anthony Mackie. There he is.
He's short.
Yeah. Well, I mean, or maybe he's 7 foot. I don't know whoever this guy is. That
Guy's a giant.
Yeah.
The size of his head.
Well, that's important. Head size is.
He looks enormous.
It's Shaun, okay? I don't know why you're making fun of Shaun. Shaun's like, I hate you.
That's me.
Maybe.
You calling that guy me?
Maybe.
Maybe.
The head.
But like last year was, like I said, it was kind of all kind of hip, tongue in cheek. You were DJ, you were the hip guy that had left basketball to become a DJ. So you're Shaun. And then like you were like, no, I want to play basketball now. So then you came back and it was about making your career. This actually feels a little bit more of something that could be, maybe not the fact that like you're going to eventually, if you play a lot of this, you're going to end up like being somewhere between a 95 or 99 ranked player. But it is something that actually does exist in the real world, which is one, Chinese basketball leagues. Tons of players have gone over to China to play basketball there. J.R. Smith, whenever they had the lockout, famously went over to China and played a year there until he got signed by Cleveland. And then more importantly, which is becoming a really big part of the NBA now, is the G League, which is kind of like, think of the minor leagues for the NBA. And a lot of talent gets called up or sent down there as they, progress or regress throughout their careers. So the other interesting part is the last couple of years you've been this fun guy, or you've been the guy who there's stars and expectations, or everyone just naturally wants to root for. In this game, you kind of start off as something they've shown before, as your adversary has been, but you're this time, which is you're an a-hole. You're kind of like in this year's game, you come out with your teammate from college, Corey Harris. Corey Harris had been the star on your team, and you were kind of like the number 2 guy. Instead of like returning for your next year and taking your time in the limelight and developing and, probably getting to a point where you could be drafted very highly, you come out the same year as him. You don't get drafted. You go to China, and you kind of have this chip on your shoulder where you feel like everyone's overlooking you and trying to put you down, instead of kind of realizing that in a way it's that's not the case. It's more of like, look, you have to accept where you are in your progression and where you are in your career, and what is important versus what is not important, right? So the fact that your personal stats don't matter as much as what your team accomplishes, right? Things like that. That's what matters. And it also shows just how hard it is for those players to feel like they're getting ahead, because on one hand, everyone is in these kind of leagues. They all have the same goal, right? They're trying to get to the NBA. That's where they're trying to get to. But at the same time, you want to do what's best for your team at the same time. Yeah. Like it's really hard to get that juxtaposition in someone's career where they can feel like they have a chance to shine and show what their worth is, while at the same time being a team player that plays within a team setup in roles as far as they're defined. The good thing about this is, while there are long cutscenes, like I said, after about 3 or 4 hours, you get the story out of the way. It has a good arc. It has a good story. It has a villain to it. And all that carries over to
What's his superpower?
Being an a-hole.
Jump shots?
Creating digital images of you that are not true.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a super villain.
Yeah. He teams up with Haley Joel.
A deviant child.
Yeah. But you eventually go into the NBA, and people like Corey Harris and your villain from the game, his name is Marcus Smart, both also end up in there, so you will see them again. And then it's kind of what you would expect from any 2K My Career. You go through, you level up.
He always yawns on the mic.
Sorry. I'm not bored.
Some people would, yeah.
Yeah, lean back. I mean, just saying. I just like to be on my 2 cents.
Here I am trying to make ramen. It's not going very well.
Just saying, John.
The smoke detector apparently saved everyone. I wanted them to all know that. See?
Hey, look at that cereal that looks like Cheerios. It just says cereal.
It's very high quality stuff. But, yeah, afterwards it kind of just progresses to the normal thing, and you end up in what was introduced last year called the Neighborhood. Neighborhood is kind of the big social online atmosphere where you go through and you can progress your career, you can do workouts, you can go to shops and buy outfits for both when you're just walking around the neighborhood and also like when you're the gear that you'll wear in NBA games. You can get shoes, you can go get tattoos, get a haircut, which are all free this year because after all their controversy they had last year and the mistakes they made with VC, they've kind of laxed back what they ask you to pay on certain things, but not everything. They definitely have made up in other areas of where they want to charge you at. But, the Neighborhood, for those who played last year, it kind of felt like this concept that wasn't fully realized because it felt a little bit shallow and just not well designed for gameplay. After the first couple of hours when you're like, if I want to go do this one thing, I got to run to the other side of the neighborhood.
It's the guy from Spider-Man.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, there's a lot of people in this.
Just kidding. I doubt that's him.
There is the one guy, that's from the 100 who's on here. But anyways.
The one guy?
Yeah. Hold on. No, he's not here yet. Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
Final season on Netflix.
Yeah. Thunder. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. But, you get to pick whatever team you want to go to, negotiate a deal, and you kind of just go about it. I've enjoyed it a good bit because they've taken a lot of the legacy issues that kind of came up last year that people were complaining about, and they seem to have at least addressed them. Mm-hmm. Right? The big problem that came up last year was that they did this whole entire Road to 99 thing.
9?
Right? And
what does that mean?
So they took career, like before like career progression in my career was kind of like the idea has always been the same. You get to level 85 and then you have to do certain things to increase the level cap before you can buy the abilities with your VC, right? Mm-hmm. And that way people can't just like pay to win all the way to 99. It would be like you have to put in your work in order to get there. It used to be, it wasn't too hard of a grind to get to those higher levels. It would just like, it would be like, look, you need to, for the most part, play like 100 NBA games and you could get to like 95. They've changed that last year. They made it more of this idea of here's a journey. And you're not going to be able to get to 99 quick. It's going to take you most of the year because we're going to give you all these rewards for the work you put in, which on one hand, I understand what they were doing, which is kind of cool because it created this system that encouraged players to keep coming through and coming back and putting in the work. But on the other hand, it didn't work in the sense that you felt like whichever character you made first, you would have to pretty much ride through for the whole year. You didn't have a good reason to go back and start something new because it just took so freaking long to level everything up. And they also took certain things away that people really enjoyed from previous games, mainly that if you played on higher difficulties, you got A, more VC, and B, more experience.
John, VC is virtual currency.
There you go.
Yeah,
and people,
lightning.
We're all gonna die. But yeah, people just didn't like that because
I wonder if that's picking up on the mic.
I don't know. We'll find out.
That'd be pretty cool.
Listeners, tell us if you hear the lightning and thunder.
Thunder.
Well, I guess they wouldn't hear the lightning.
The beads of sweat. You can see.
Yeah. The game is realistic. I mean, like in terms of graphics, NBA 2K to me is just one of the best looking games. Period. Year in, year out. Especially when you think like it's running at 60 frames per second now.
Consistently?
Yeah, in 4K. Wow. It looks beautiful in 4K. Look, now I'm going to dunk on my boy. Boom.
Yeah, you just cross over to Steph Curry and dunked on.
I'm kind of getting
on old Corey.
We're watching story mode on YouTube, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of getting sucked in.
Yeah, it does a good job of being a good sports narrative. This is definitely one of the better stories they've done in recent years, I think.
Did you choose to help Corey up or no?
I did. I'm always a nice guy.
How'd that turn out?
Well, in the end, you're still kind of a D to him after this is all done because you still got ego. He's all like, look at all these things you did. And he's going to be like, oh, you know. He's like, yeah, man, good job.
Dude,
it's almost, see, like you say, it's almost there. It's close. And he's like, what do you mean I'm almost close? I just dunked. You know, see, you're this guy. You're Shaun. I'm kidding.
That's funny.
But, yeah, like the grind last year was really bad. They've made adjustments. They've brought back the difficulty boost. So like now if you play on the higher difficulties, you have an incentive to do it, which makes it a lot more easier leveling, because last year when I was trying to grind my badges all the way up to the higher levels, I wanted to pull my hair out, because it was the only way to get enough VC that it made it justifiable was to put on the easier difficulties.
Shaun, VC is virtual currency.
Not in that sentence.
Or I shouldn't say VC. The VC didn't matter, because VC payout last year was atrocious. But no, like the experience I would get for building my level cap, like, and my badge caps on each thing, there was no reason to play at high difficulties, because if like I was trying to level my tier drop, hitting a tier drop on high difficulty at a whim is near impossible. You know, you have to have the right setup in those instances to do it, versus when you're on the lower difficulties, as long as it's somewhat open and you just know how to time it. You know, okay, got it, go. But this year, you know, I've been playing on All-Star, and I felt like I've been consistently rewarded. It took me pretty much to December last year to get to level 90. I'm level 89 right now. So I'm already knocking on the door. You know, so it definitely feels like they've understood, like, hey, we understand you don't want things that feel like you're handicapped completely, but at the same time, they've definitely not made it in a way where someone could easily go out there and level up to like 99 within a month. You know, I think it will still be a thing where those higher difficulties will require work on the user to get there, while also making it something where you feel like you can be an all-star level pretty quickly if you put your work in. You know, I'm almost halfway through my first season, and I'm 89. I'll probably be at least a 90 by the end of the year, maybe even, depending on how it goes, maybe close to 91.
What's the cap?
99. It's always 99. And like before, it took so many seasons to get to the higher levels. And it got to a point where I just didn't, because of the fact, like,
but
again,
you got there.
I got to 95 overall. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's where I got to. That was when I quit. But, you know, I would have loved to have seen what the game was like at 99 and see if I could play on Hall of Fame difficulty and all that kind of stuff at that point and execute well. But we'll see. Oh yeah, this is in here too. This is crazy. This is a shout out they put in the game. And it also kind of gives you a good idea of just how far NBA 2K has progressed over the last 10 years. There's an arcade in the game. There's an arcade version of like what had to be the equivalent of probably like 2K10 in here.
You actually get to play it?
Yeah, watch this. They'll show you.
This is like jumping into Crash Bandicoot and Uncharted.
Yes,
okay.
It is definitely in that vein. And there's like certain things you just can't do that you're like, you take for granted now, and you're like, oh yeah, that didn't used to be in here. Like, you can't set a screen in this.
See, John, setting a screen is...
Tell me.
Enlighten me.
But so far, also looks like they made a lot of good improvements to the AI and just the mechanics of the game. Last year, people complained that was way too easy to drive as a slasher. And this year, definitely, defenders react a lot more to people trying to go drive to the middle, and they react to it. Other things, it's still the best looking sports game. It's still the best, I think, feeling. But again, it's one of those things where if you want to get good at this game, for those who are new to it, I will tell you now, it's much closer to like if you're playing MLB The Show or trying to think, or like any of the UFC games where you really have to learn mechanics and understand how things work throughout the ideas of fundamentals in basketball to be great at this game, versus just pick up and play like NBA or NBA Jam, where you just toss it up and you're good to go. You know, it's not a simple game. It's not an arcade game. It's
my
a simulation.
personal favorite was always Double Dribble on the NES.
It's a good game.
I think we lost Shaun. Is your mic working?
John's just like watching the game.
It sucks you in.
But
I want to know more.
I don't now.
I want to feel his pain.
Now, of course, the big controversy with this series, and I feel like it unfairly gets it more than any other series out there. I'm like, they're not the only one doing it, guys. Let's be honest to that. I mean, it's cool to criticize them, is though it's the VC purchases.
Virtual currency?
Yeah,
Okay.
like the fact that you can buy currency, you can level yourself up to 85, just by buying currency if you want. And people will say that it's designed in a way where, it's enticing you to pay for certain things if you want them now. I honestly find that once you get going,
It's hard to stop.
yeah, well, I mean, I can't speak like I come in from a pure perspective because I got the Hall of Fame edition. They gave me $100K VC with the game. So I'd leveled myself up already to like level, I want to say 75 by the time I actually started. But it's one of those things, honestly, like, I guess, yeah, if you don't want to do the work or anything, or you just want the automatic results, it's very enticing to just go and say, well, let me buy the VC I'm going to need for this just so I can go ahead and spend it. But I've already hit my maxes just by playing the game naturally. And
you're so good.
Like I saved my money. Like maybe it's because I'm not too enticed by the buying of things right away. Like I'll wait to buy like the clothes and the accessories.
You're a fiscal conservative.
I am. I'm very fiscal and conservative when it comes to things. Just like, when I played Fortnite, it wasn't too often that I would go out there and buy the skins there in the game. I'd rather just earn the ones they give you and go from there.
When you say buy skins, do you ever feel like you're Buffalo Bill?
It puts the lotion on skin.
You see, Sean, Buffalo Bill is a character from Silence of the Lambs.
Would you? Dude, I'm watching AI. Like,
I gotta.
You want to go to China, don't you?
You need to turn this off.
No. This is great. I chime in every once in a while. Chris is covering it well. Yeah, man.
He's just getting a story. He's like, wow, AI's really got
I'm
hard.
thinking about buying the game, challenging Chris's title. It's all going down on my dome piece right now, dude.
It's going to be hilarious when I play you.
I will beat you at this game.
Okay.
I will beat you 114-98.
Yeah, here you see. This is the end of what they call the prelude, where you actually end up in. Yeah.
He's in Los Angeles.
Yeah, and then you get traded for a sandwich.
No way.
Yeah, you do. That's pretty funny.
Why you gotta tell me you get traded for a sandwich?
Because you do. Because Michael Rappaport likes sandwiches. I
would bask it in right now.
I bet you would. You'd be that guy. He stayed cool. He's like, yeah, man.
He's taking it in.
Nah, he selected stay cool. But yeah, the VC debate. Look, I get it. It would be a great world if you didn't have to have something like VC in the game. I definitely agree. It's a money-making tactic. There's no way to disagree that, like, it's obviously put in there. And there are items in this game, like, especially, like, in this year. So there were skateboards and bikes in the game last year that you got as rewards for reaching pretty high level. Yeah, Michael Rappaport.
I wasn't connecting the name, but then I see the guy and I'm like, that's unmistakable.
Yeah. But
he's fantastic, and Netflix is atypical.
Yes. Yeah, he is on that show, isn't he? Yeah.
He also was a boyfriend of Phoebe on Friends.
He also really likes to be vocal about basketball, boxing, and
hip hop.
Yeah, also hip hop. It's great to see him go on sports shows. I love watching him on there. But I get it. It would be great if there was any VC. And there are items, as I said before, like that are really atrociously expensive. Like the big one I've seen so far. So last year, as a reward for leveling up, you got a skateboard and you got a bike, depending when you hit certain levels. They're in here this time, and they've really customized those out. But the kicker is, even though you get them a lot earlier, like to buy one skateboard in this game costs you 60,000 VC. For comparison here, right? I play this game. I've been playing this game very regularly, and the only thing I've really spent my VC on in the past week is when I hit my level caps, and I can boost a couple stats up. That's what I've spent my VC on because I've kind of gotten everything else I want. And I have about 28,000 VC. So, like, you know, if you want these things, they're obviously designed to be attained kind of like in WoW it would be for a mount, right? Like where you need to do a precipitous amount of work for a very long time, right? Or the other side of WoW, you just pay them money and you get what you want, which is what I think they're kind of in a way hoping for. The thing I hate is I've seen some videos out on YouTube over the last couple of weeks because there was legit criticism of the way 2K handled certain things last year. Really did feel like they were going for the money grab more than ever before last year. There are some commentators I've seen out there that I can tell when I've watched their stuff, they have no idea about this series. They don't know anything about or have any interest in NBA basketball, and they're just using this thing as a talking point to launch against them. And it's to a point like when I look at it, and this is kind of crap pisses me off.
Whoa!
Where I'm looking at, and the only reason they're talking about this is because there was an example last year, and they're kind of ignoring that this is something that is actually common within the industry, especially in sports game. You want to talk about people spending on VC in this? What do you think MUT and FUT and all those other modes that EA has are? They're VC driven. You know, if you're upset with that, I mean, Fortnite every season charges you $20 for the season, and then on top of that,
it was $9 for the season
or whatever. Yeah, I think it started out as $20. Maybe it's gone down since then. But either way, they're charging you for the season with a bunch of content, and then they're encouraging you to pay to go ahead and level all the way up, just like you can do in this game. Except, you know, not max level, but you can buy all the battle pass levels, and then every single day they're dropping more free or more skins for you to purchase that cost a pretty big clip, you know, when you think about it. And no one's complaining about that, you know, just because it's free at initial price. I'm like, that's not the way it actually is, though. So, you know, I guess my point is, if you want to be critical of 2K, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But come from a place of maybe like actually being a fan of basketball and these kinds of games, and not just a place of this is a talking point for me to use to make a demonstration versus a legitimate argument, because you're never going to win over basketball fans or actual fans of the series with your criticisms, I think, if you're not coming from a genuine place. I'd rather trust a couple of the YouTubers on there who commit their lives pretty much to playing this series year round, right? Or objective journalists that love basketball and they do the review for their company every year, than someone who literally, for the most part, plays things that have nothing to do with sports and has only put this video out just so he can use it as a clickbaity way to rail against something that he just doesn't have any interest in real life. It'd be like if you're complaining about Call of Duty and the things of Call of Duty and you don't even care about first-person shooters in general. You're just doing it because it's fun to hate on Call of Duty, right? It's not cool. I don't think it's genuine, and I don't think it adds anything of interest in the world of criticism. That's it.
Fair point.
Yeah. To wrap
it's
this,
refreshing to see him rail against the media.
Taking up for something he believes in and likes.
I try to be balls and strikes the best I can.
Oh my God! If you say that one more time today, Chris.
Balls and strikes. But anyways, to wrap this up, just because I know they don't want to go there, for those who are fans of the series, it's a 9, still a 9 on the Richard scale. It will be hard to see. I thought 2K18 was 9, and I have to be honest, over time that kind of dropped down more to maybe an 8. But this is easily the best graphical game. It takes a lot of issues that were there in terms of gameplay and redefines them. It gives you answers to the problems that are there last year that, at least at this point to me, seem like a fair balance. And I think it gives you one of the best stories that they've done throughout these series. The cool thing about the stories is you don't know what you're going to get until about 2 weeks every year before the game's release. And some of them are very interesting and some of them are terrible. Like, for instance, when Spike Lee did it, and I thought this is going to be good, and it seemed good for about the first 30 minutes. And all of a sudden, my best friend was a drug addict who was writing to me from beyond the grave. And I was like, this is way too serious for a basketball game.
But Spike.
Yeah. The other fun part was when I went and I met my family in that year's version, and they were black, and I was like, this isn't awkward at all.
I apologize if you already said it. What system did you get it on?
Xbox One X. I went back. I actually
world premiere.
Yeah, 5 billion
flops.
Yeah, yeah. I've been playing this series on PS4 the last couple of years, but seeing as I don't really play online with any of my friends, and
it sounded very sad.
No, I mean, I'm fine.
I don't play online with my friends.
Which is actually, it's good because Brandon, from who I work with,
BC,
yeah. He has it on Xbox, and I was like, oh, maybe I can play with him some point. So
he doesn't like you.
He loves me.
We
talk all day.
I know how you feel. I found somebody today at work who might play Sea of Thieves with me.
Oh. You could always ask me when I have a Game Pass subscription.
Yeah.
That's a game you always bring up, John. You should just go play it, man.
Yeah.
Should I?
Just get good at it.
Just go.
Yeah.
I don't have time right now.
I want to come into the game. I want to come into the game like a year from now, and all of a sudden, you come on this hueish purple unique ship that's been just tricked out over the waves, and you're like, ha, and you're almost like a ghost captain.
Yeah, you come in like a dream.
Drop anchor!
And you come in and go so fast, we look at each other and we go, was that John?
And me and Sean are just on the dankiest
just
little
noobs.
Just schooner. It's just terrible.
Long John Dinglewood.
Dinglewood.
He likes sausage.
Hey, Fridays.
Wow.
But that said, I'm sorry that those who are not fans of sports, and especially NBA, had to endure this.
Chris, I don't know how you know this, but they probably listen on their smart device and they put their finger on the dial and just
start
right
skipping.
on past it.
Just start skipping.
I'd like to think that people tune in to listen to us as people.
Lowered expectations. That's what you need.
It's about the humor and the camaraderie and the.
Oh,
am I NPRing it too much?
My God!
See, that's what they tune into.
You guys ready to go to the news?
Yeah. I got to pee.
I was waiting for Sean.
Yes.
Hot off the press and straight to your ears. Weekly Games Chat presents the news.
So terrible. So terrible. So terrible.
Oh, that's good stuff.
First up. Oh, wait, that's not me anymore.
Yeah. Hey, it's news time, John, and we're back.
Let's get this rolling.
Hey, it's right there if you wanted to just.
I like it on my smartphone.
Yeah, you do.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Go.
Oh, here we go.
Sad news first.
Telltale confirms closure.
Oh, that's not good.
News began to break last week that Telltale Games had laid off a majority of its employees, remaining open with a skeleton crew.
Was this after we recorded? Because I don't remember us talking about it.
This happened Friday.
Late last week, yeah.
It was late Friday. I didn't see this until Sunday night.
Yeah.
That was because,
it's terrible.
Busy getting ready to go to Bama.
It was further reported that 25 people remained on staff to finish up projects such as The Walking Dead after learning that projects like The Wolf Among Us Season 2 had been canceled. Later, news broke that the remaining staff will, in fact, be working on Minecraft Story Mode for Netflix and not the final season of The Walking Dead. Telltale Games confirmed to IGN in a statement that they have made the difficult decision to begin a majority studio closure following a year marked by insurmountable challenges, end quote. The company remains open to, quote, fulfill the company's obligations to its board and partners, end quote.
But it says fulfill he.
It does.
You don't need to do that, Chris.
It does.
I get to do this kind of stuff now. I get to be that guy. Yeah, there was some more news I saw today where they were apparently talking to a couple of studios who may partner with them to help finish the final season of The Walking Dead. And I think I also saw that Netflix has already pretty much said, even though it won't be Telltale, it looks like that's doing it, they're still going ahead with their plans to make a kind of story-based Stranger Things game. They just need to find a new studio to take on the project for them.
Well, maybe THQ Nordic would be interested in taking over the studio.
Could do it.
But to me, along with the news, there's also news that a couple of employees are grouping together for a class action lawsuit.
Oh yeah,
because of the fact that
he got it right. The answer's in. He got it right. Oh, because it was a ding after you talked, and it. Ugh.
It's a button on the side of your phone. Just gotta click it once a week.
It's a joke.
It's okay, man.
Why'd your voice crack?
Anyways, keep going. No, keep
puberty.
going. Keep going.
It's okay, man.
I finally got pubes.
Whoa.
Gotta edit that
one. Whoa.
Kidding.
But they're pursuing a class action lawsuit in pursuant to some labor laws from the state of California that apparently were broken. I think specifically had to do with 60 days notice or 60 days worth of pay and benefits, I think is how it goes.
Yeah,
because according to reports, they said you have 30 minutes to pack up and leave.
That's terrible.
Because their contracts, like, they got no benefits, no severance. And yeah, as you said, like, the initial part, because I think they have to renegotiate a contract for them to come back in to get their stuff because of the way their contracts are worded. It was pretty hard. I know I've seen talk of it like this week as kind of refiring up the talk about, unionization and things like that. I've seen an article on Game Biz about that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a big thing. I just, this is sad. I like Telltale. I've liked their games. I think if you looked at their history, like, you can see this natural progression where obviously they came out of this place as a big fan of something like Super Monkey Island and all that kind of stuff, and they built something that had kind of died out from the early to mid 90s that was a popular genre, and they brought it back. And at first they kind of did this thing where they were picking really small, or I would say not very financially costing IPs to work with. Like, they made a lot of CSI games. They made games based on Sam & Max, which are, for those who are unfamiliar, that's like a comic book series, kind of like from Dark Horse, I think. And they made cool things like Poker Night, which is just one of the best poker games out there, and did this cool thing where it would take random pop culture characters and put them in. I think like the second one had Claptrap and freaking Ash from Evil Dead and things like that, and they're hilarious to play. But then, like, when Walking Dead came out and hit, it kind of like shifted the way the company did things, right? And they really started to take some risk in some big IPs. We talking about Game of Thrones and Minecraft, and they did Guardians of the Galaxy and Batman, right? All these big things. And I think the thing to keep in mind is when you work with big IPs, two things are probably going to be true. One, you're paying a pretty penny for that IP. And two, more likely than not, in the contract, it's probably stipulated that the company that owns the IP is likely going to get paid before you do. Especially when you think of something like Batman or Guardians of the Galaxy where Disney's involved, right? So I can see very quickly where if you have Guardians come out and it doesn't sell very well, or it doesn't do what you were hoping it to do, it quickly creates a big financial burden because you're not going to get any influx cash. Disney's going to get paid whatever cash you're getting. And you have that along with the idea of kind of, even though they brought back the genre, right? It also encouraged a whole new generation of developers to start making games based on this kind of idea. And Telltale, as much as we love their stories and their narrative, have never been known for having great gameplay mechanics or worlds or anything like that. It's always been about the narrative and the choices that you get out of them. So now you have companies who are doing it better than you were. They're probably doing it for cheaper because they're making original IPs. And the whole entire market for that genre is a little bit more saturated than it was whenever Walking Dead originally hit big. Right, Penny knows. And it just leads to this place where, unfortunately, eventually, the money runs out and the deals you had lined up were just too much and there's not much you can do about it. And it just sucks. I feel bad for everyone there. I hope everyone gets jobs. I saw Ubisoft was doing a lot to help find people jobs. So hopefully everyone goes to like all these other studios that are making these kind of games and they can make those studios stronger.
Well, this hell hath frozen over.
Yeah.
Because, like, I didn't read the article. It's in its entirety, but I can at least agree with the title of the article by Ben Kuchera from Polygon, and that guy I never agree with. He said, Telltale, and I've been hard on Telltale for years.
For sure.
They refused to innovate.
Yeah,
they were absolutely
not
refused. They thought their product was hot and sexy, and they didn't realize that they were a small studio dealing with big IP, and they would not change. You heard Colin Moriarty for years complain about that engine.
Yeah. Oh, it's a bad engine.
This engine's busted. They finally announced last year or so that they were starting to turn the tide and rebuild that stuff and start from scratch, but it was just too little too late. I just think this is a niche market and it got too big.
It's possible. I mean, it's
and
not,
I don't think these products are incredibly good. I never did.
You mean Telltale or
Telltale's products that they tried?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just don't think they were ever.
Did
really
you play
that
the
good.
first season of The Walking Dead?
Yeah. I just didn't think it was that great or compelling.
I think, like, to me, yeah, it's always been about the narrative part, and I really enjoy The Walking Dead. I also really enjoy. I think their soundest one is the one they did for Tales from the Borderlands, right? That's like, I thought that was going to be terrible because I was like, there's no way they can do these shooting mechanics, and they found a way to actually make it work in their engine. I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. But yeah, like, you take that engine and all these things that at first you're like, wow, this is groundbreaking in this way so much, we'll look past your problems. And then, like I said, you have something like Life is Strange come along, which does play great and feels great, or Firewatch, or Gone Home, or What Remains of Edith Finch. All these games that have started coming out in this genre. And you see them all work perfectly fine. They work well with the worlds that they built, and they deliver just as good, if not at times better, narrative experiences as a Telltale game. And once you get to that, it's like really hard to look past the faults of that Telltale engine anymore. You can't forgive it the same way. You're like, well, if this studio with 25 people can do it, building a whole new game engine and making their own thing that's completely original, why can't you do it with 200 people? That's the fair question to ask of them.
So, favorite one with you?
Probably Tales from the Borderlands.
Sean, do you have a favorite one?
No.
Sean's like, check it out again.
I mean, I'm not going to say anything ugly.
Yeah.
Just, y'all covered it.
You don't want to kick a man when it's down?
Nope.
That's fine.
No. Well, you like you said, you didn't really like their stuff. Chris did. Everybody could see this coming.
Well, if you notice that they started, they canceled development on The Wolf Among Us.
Yeah.
This was original content.
No.
The Wolf Among Us?
No, that's a comic.
Or is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I lied. Because my approach was like, this was a more if you focused on churning. It seems like The Wolf Among Us, Tales from the Borderlands, that seemed to be the last bit of content that people really praised. I mean,
Batman.
These episodes were churning out with 7s.
Yeah, well,
and churning out with 7s like this, constantly giving people average scores.
Yeah.
It's not sustainable.
I will say the one
they
thing
were doing too much, too many IP. Instead of just, I mean, this is 250 employees that got canned.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that I think is unfair to this genre with the episodic thing, I feel for them on this, is like when you look at the ratings of their games, they tend to always rate the episodes and not the overall product in the end, right? And it's like, I feel bad for them because it's like, yeah, you get an episode that is like a 7, and it's not a 7 because it's like literally a part of the game that's a setup, right? Nothing humongous happens in it. It's not exactly the most memorable part of the game. And if we were talking like a regular game, it would just be an hour or two within the story that you're playing versus when you get the context of the full thing, right, you're like, okay, well, there was a reason I needed to go through that because it set up all this.
And then Firewatch,
I feel bad
Firewatch chunks the game out at you.
Yeah. Hey, Firewatch is
There's
amazing.
the content. There's the content.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it. There's
Exactly.
Gone Home. Everybody loves it. Mm-hmm. If you graded the first act of Gone Home, what would you think of it?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
You
I
know?
guess that's my point.
So
like,
your point is well said.
Yeah, maybe they need to wait on reviewing these. I don't know how to say.
Or maybe Telltale, one of the things it could have done different was just stop doing episodes. Do the game.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we saw Square's changing that up because with Hitman here. Hitman.
As Sean would say.
Yeah, man.
Hitman. Sean.
Hitman.
What's up next?
You don't need to worry about that.
Okay. Well, why don't you?
I don't have to. You can't.
John, what's up next? I'll just go there.
He won't do that to me.
You're holding the show hostage.
PlayStation Classic.
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
Sony has announced the PlayStation Classic, if you've not heard yet. The new mini console will come preloaded with 20 classics from the PS1 library, including these amazing titles. Final Fantasy VII, Tekken 3, Wild Arms, Jumping Flash, Ridge Racer, Type 4, and other classic games yet to be announced.
Yay.
The unit is 45% smaller than the original console and comes with HDMI and USB cables. see, because HDMI is HDMI for all you blockheads out there.
Should be USB.
Yeah, and HDMI and USB cable. Unfortunately, it will come with the 2 original controllers without analog. And for those of you who had the original PlayStation, you know exactly what a pain that is. But hey, we love the Nintendo controllers that didn't have analog, right?
Exactly.
Right. The console is set to launch in December. See, because I said December and nobody caught it. December. With limited quantities.
Yeah.
When this thing cannot be found anywhere, I better hear some criticism from the games media.
It'll be interesting.
There's going to
see.
be plenty of these things out there.
Really?
I hope so. I don't. But
is the fanboy in me coming out because I don't feel.
So.
I'm not sure I want one yet. I'm waiting because
when I heard about the mini Nintendos, Chris, I couldn't wait to get one. I saw this and I went.
I'll say I need to see the rest of the titles that are on there.
It's odd that they don't have this lined up.
I've never played Wild Arms or Jumping Flash, but I love Tekken. I love Final Fantasy VII is one of the greatest games ever. Ridge Racer, Type 4. I love all the Ridge Racers. If they put things like the original Wipeout and Jetpack, what was the freaking? It was like these jet racer games that you go through, and at times they were kind of hovercraft, and then they would also go on water. They do all these crazy things. That game is amazing. I love that game. They put that on there. I'm trying to think of other things.
Crash?
Yeah, they could put Crash Bandicoot on there.
I know they've done a recent Crash re-trilogy or whatever it was called.
Paw Rapper the Rapper?
Well,
right. If those kind of games are announced, dude,
yes.
I'm all in.
Well, yeah. I mean, this could interest me for a reason that, fans of the show can email in and tell you guys to kick me off this show. Here's the dirty little secret about me. I skipped video.
Wear girl panties?
I did not play video games in college.
Oh, that's right.
I skipped college.
Not
games.
that secret.
That means I missed. That means I missed the PlayStation 1. That means I missed the Saturn. That means I missed the PlayStation 2.
Did you get the
I
Dreamcast?
missed the Xbox.
When did you start college?
You went to
98.
college?
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I guess that was 2 years in PlayStation.
Did you play the Dreamcast?
No, I didn't play the Dreamcast.
Greatest system ever.
Yeah.
That's what I hear.
Crazy Taxi.
So fun.
Yeah.
I played sporadically games. Like every holiday, I'd go home and I'd play a Zelda game or a Mario game.
Shoot.
I made sure I got certain titles in, but I was not a gamer in college.
Or Siphon Filter.
Yeah.
All those could be on there, and I'd be like, that's awesome.
Especially if the graphics are going to be kind of updated-ish.
Sure.
And run. Dude, those games, Siphon Filter, Metal Gear, I mean, Crash. I'm in. But no, I
absolutely.
get the one thing that does again, and I get it. It's probably the price point again, but just kind of like the Nintendo and SNES Classic.
Oh my God, die!
The piss,
the piss point.
Yeah.
The price point at $100, which I didn't include there for some stupid reason.
But
it's a little high.
Well, newer, a lot newer than SNES
Nintendo,
or Nintendo, right?
Yeah, I think the Super Nintendo Mini is $79.
Yeah,
the original Nintendo Mini is like $59.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're talking so
tech is. Yeah,
I mean, it would be like if you did an N64.
I see what you're saying, and I understand why you're saying it.
But
in the timeline, it is newer stuff. I don't know.
The one big thing I would say though is that's a little disappointing is again there's no online functionality. So one, you can't play with people online, and two, there's not going to be a potential of
Did
them.
PlayStation 1 have an online capability?
No, but I mean, like, it would be nice to be able to eventually, like, they'd be like, by the way, we're releasing a season 2 pack or something like that, right? All you need is a USB stick. You plug it in the back. Like, I've been wanting that here. I am happy, though. I have to say, I'm actually happy that they're putting out the original controllers because, you know, it makes you appreciate what you have today. Just like when you pick up a SNES or a NES controller now versus picking up like the Switch, you know.
So they want you to hate this product.
No, but
to appreciate what we have.
Look, I'm one of those that I think innovation is important to
No,
highlight,
I'm with
so,
you.
yeah.
I'm just making light of it.
I mean, it'd be like whenever you pick up that terrible GameCube controller. I hate that controller, but you know.
Touche, Chris.
Yeah.
Touche. I love that controller.
Yeah. Or when I pick up the Duke compared to the
I've never
Xbox 360.
put anything in my hands that felt so right.
That's not what you told me when we lived together.
Other than the GameCube controller.
Oh, you mean the one that I own now?
Oh.
Yeah, it's a sexy little beast, isn't it?
Yeah.
John, what's next?
More powerful than the Xbox.
You got to stop doing that before I come across this table.
All right. PUBG coming to PS4.
Good?
Yeah.
It could be coming. That is more accurate. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds for PlayStation 4 has been cited on a Korean ratings board website, giving to credible speculation
Good job.
that the game might have a future on the best-selling console. It has been widely known that Bluehole was in talks with Sony to make this happen. Nothing has been officially confirmed. This is a logical next step for PUBG to make it more competitive with Fortnite.
It makes sense, right?
It's got to do something.
Not only does it make sense to do it this way, and it's not only Fortnite. I think PUBG is looking at Call of Duty coming into the
everybody like that
and
that map,
and that thing is getting some crazy good buzz.
Yep.
That doesn't necessarily mean that that doesn't mean that people are going to flock away from Fortnite. But
my
PUBG
big worry
is
would
like,
be,
huh?
if I was Fortnite, if I'm Epic, my big worry right now is Call of Duty, just because like they're
Even if you're Epic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I'm at like PUBG, you know, has this basis on PC, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that's where their home's always going to be. Call of Duty's not really known as a PC game. And Fortnite, while you could play it on PC, I think the majority of people are playing on consoles.
Every YouTube personality plays it on PC.
Well, they do.
I know that's anecdotal.
Yeah, they're recording, so they want the best.
I love the return of the word anecdotal to this fine podcast.
I'm trying to make it more.
Yeah, bring it back, man.
They're trying to, of course, get the best recording they can get. But the majority of people out there obviously are playing on PlayStation 4. Just because there's 80 million of them.
Who knows?
Aiden tried to get it kickstarted on not kickstarted as in Kickstarted, but
Patreon?
he tried to fire up Fortnite on PlayStation. Mm-hmm. I was like, "What are you doing?" Because I want to play it on PlayStation because a lot of my friends are on there. I'm like, dude, you can't do that.
Yeah,
you have to start over. I'm sorry. He goes, "What are you talking about?" Yeah, he was not happy.
I bet he wasn't.
What do you mean? I got a what? What?
Why isn't it just shared?
I said, Aiden, you play it on Switch, you play it on Xbox, you play it on your phone. Can you please give us one console without that contaminated garbage? Just kidding.
Yeah.
You know, but
he wasn't.
Yeah, but that contaminated garbage continues to grow, John.
Yeah.
Fortnite has had the biggest month ever in August with 78.3 million players. According to the aforementioned Epic Games, quote, this exposed weak points and allowed us to make targeted improvements to critical systems, such as stats and servers. The good old stats and servers line. The summer skirmish also, as you all probably noticed, highlighted problems with performance and spectating, which we've been working on ever since, end quote. Season 6 of Fortnite kicks off September 27th.
I have a question.
Yes.
Sure. You guys told me, and it didn't occur to me, you guys told me that Fortnite is technically, the Battle Royale mode is still a beta.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're still saying it's a beta.
Your hair looks really good today.
Do they, at this point,
I thought about you when I styled it.
At this point, how do they announce that it's no longer a beta?
I don't know they ever will.
It's like
they will. I mean,
It could be so
PUBG officially?
Yeah, PUBG, I mean, for the longest time, people were like, are they ever going to bring that out beta? I mean, now, it's not uncommon for some games to go years upon years of doing it, just because...
But what are they trying to do? I mean, I'm not saying you guys necessarily know, but what can you imagine? What are they waiting on? It seems like this is as done as it's ever going to be, and they keep charging you $10 every 3 months.
You're way
they're going to do
off.
that regardless.
Well, so what's wrong with it?
What's wrong with what?
Fortnite.
Nothing.
It's a perfect final product.
It's an ever evolving product.
But they can do that when it's not in beta.
I agree with you.
But they might want to set...
Did it
for
sound
a
like I
certain
didn't
date.
for a minute?
I wonder if they're like waiting for a certain date that they have in mind.
You
And
wanna fight.
who knows? They might have certain things that they're like, we want this, and this to be in the final product. To say, like, when this is officially released, that we were offering all these things within Battle Royale itself. To say
It's like a
that
superstitious athlete. You keep
Sure.
winning games, you don't wash your underwear.
Very superstitious.
Or some sort of thing like that. You don't wash a certain thing because you keep winning.
Writings
I feel like
on
they
the
feel, it's like
wall.
almost like they feel if they put it out of beta, it's going to stop making money.
I
Well,
know.
we don't want to play it now. It's finished.
I find that the best way to keep your winning streak going is not to wash your taint.
See, John, a taint is
That's just what I do,
The grundle.
right? 2 weeks.
Did we say that on the show last week?
I believe so.
Or prior to the
Or
show?
we say, you say at some point.
At some point you said grundle, and I've never heard of that word.
You never heard of the grundle?
Never.
It's from a movie where he talks about
I've been
right?
saying it. I was saying it prior to the movie, but in
Of course,
Dodgeball.
they got it from you.
No, I
right?
didn't say that. In
He's
Dodgeball,
like,
You
you
also
should put
used
this
to
in
walk
your
around and say, if you can dodge a wrench.
in
Of course.
Dodgeball, you could dodge a grundle. In Dodgeball, the dog wakes him up by licking his
grundle?
his grundle, and he says, oh, not the grundle. So he called it a grundle.
Good old grundle.
So anyway,
Oh, that makes me
enough of
happy.
that. August NPD numbers.
Oh, are they in?
They're in.
Oh,
Madden NFL 19 is the top selling game for August according to MPD US sales charts,
MTD.
with Monster Hunter World making a surprising return to the number 2 spot. This year's Madden is the highest launching in sales since Madden NFL 2013.
that's crazy.
That's
to me.
good for them.
Yeah. So number 1, Madden NFL. Number 2, Monster Hunter. Number 3, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six: The Siege.
Game that game is like slowly turning into the new
Grand
what
Theft.
this next one
Yeah.
is.
Number 5, Mario Kart 8. Sorry, I skipped number 4.
You did.
Grand Theft Auto 5. Number 5, Mario Kart 8. Number 6, Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker. I have
job.
no idea.
That makes me happy.
Have you ever heard of Naruto?
Yeah.
Can you just say it again for me?
Naruto to Boruto Shinobi Striker. We got to get Darius back on to talk about that.
Oh, that's
Assuming,
so funny.
I mean, it looks like something in his wheelhouse. God of War, where are we on? Number 7? Yeah. God of War, number 7. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 at number 8.
Yeah, I think they put that on backwards compatibility
Yep,
last
that-
month.
that
Oh,
makes
that's
sense.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. And The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild at number 9, followed, rounding out the top 10, Super Mario Odyssey. I guess it makes a little bit of sense with Monster Hunter because they released all that content, and then
Yeah.
it actually released on the PC.
It kind of, to
Yeah,
me, just
makes a
shows
lot of
that the
sense.
only...
Yeah, I'm stupid.
I look at that list and I go like, so the evidence apparently points to the fact that the only major game that came out in August was Madden NFL 19, just because
Yep.
there's a lot of things. I guess Naruto is probably new, but, good for them for making it.
Was that the only release, really?
Yeah, like we play. I mean, there was smaller. I mean, of course, Dead Cells came out then.
Yeah, but that
The
stuff's not
Messenger-
gonna stack up
those
to
are
this.
small games.
Well, what
and
do you
all
think's going to
digital
be number
sales.
1 this month?
Oh, did you just set up a pivot? I'm so proud of you. Speaking of games that sold a lot of copies, John, Spider-Man is taking all the money. Spider-Man has sold 3.3 million copies.
Millions!
Within the first 3 days of release, making it the fastest selling first-party PlayStation game of all time. According to Sony Global Senior Vice President Stephen Turvey, quote, our expectations are always set at the highest levels, end quote. Ugh. He further went on to praise Insomniac for, quote, bringing Spider-Man back to gaming in a way that you want to experience it, end quote.
Shocker.
If I'm correct, and I typically am.
Yeah, let's face it. Let's face it.
I think analysts track my rates like that. I think I average 93.9% right all the time.
Let's go to the board. It says
Anyway.
survey.
Anyway, when Horizon Zero Dawn released,
Oh, I still need to play that game.
yeah, you do. You really do. It became the fastest selling PlayStation game of all time.
Yeah.
God of War released, it became the fastest selling PlayStation game of all time. Spider-Man, here we are again. They keep beating themselves at their own game, which is a good thing, but it proves to me, and this is not a knock, it proves to me that Naughty Dog is becoming less and less relevant in their catalog. And I say that because Naughty Dog, I think, has made every studio that Sony owns better studios.
Yeah, it's fair.
I really think that.
I think definitely with Santa Monica, you could say that they probably looked at what Last of Us and Uncharted did and said, like, take the time you need.
Yeah.
Go back to the board and figure out a way to bring this in a way that's going to capture people.
And that's not a knock to Naughty Dog. That's
Now,
that's
Insomniac,
a compliment to Naughty Dog. They have made these studios better.
Now, in this case with Insomniac, of course, a little bit different because they are owned by Sony. But
yeah, you're right. That's true. Yeah.
So you're saying Naughty Dog did to the Sony people like Tua did to Jalen?
Ooh,
I think that's right.
I watched him Saturday. That was yeah, he did not have a great week. It wasn't a bad week,
but it wasn't good either.
Yeah.
But I tell you, if the new Uncharted game releases simultaneously with Horizon Zero Dawn, what do you think I'm getting? I'm getting Horizon Zero Dawn.
You say that now with the the benefit of hindsight.
No, hindsight would come
They're
after.
two very different.
2020.
Here's the question, though. Okay, so
No, I really think. Okay, you're right. That could change, but I really think that's where I would be.
here's
I really think it is.
I don't
here's
know.
the question I have now is I definitely don't think Days Gone is going to beat this when it comes out in February. I'm sure that game will do fine.
Yeah.
That game
But
will rock.
here's the big
I
one.
hope it's so good.
I'd be willing to bet that Last of Us Part 2 is coming out in June, and of course when that came out, it became the highest selling, first party exclusive one for
It did.
release.
Yeah.
So the question is, does that knock off Spider-Man, or does Spider-Man 2, whenever that comes out in 3 years, knock it off? Because I figure it's one of those two, right?
Man, it's great to be
Or
Sony,
God
man.
of War 2, whenever that comes, or 4, whatever the heck they call it.
But
Anyways.
I think Sony is absolutely thrilled with the fact that it's not just Naughty Dog anymore. They're not just waiting on Naughty Dog to come out with something.
Sure.
Granted,
I don't think they
Santa
ever-
Monica was always releasing good God of War games, but
I mean, I would expect things right now to be the highest selling ever, just because if you think of the PlayStation 3, their big problem was, it took a long time for them to get going, right? So even though Uncharted was always received well, it was on the console where, you had nearly double the market in the U.S. for the other console at the time. Now that's kind of almost switched, right? Maybe not quite double what Xbox has within the U.S. market. Worldwide, yes. But
That was a lot, Chris.
yeah, but now you have this thing where you're late in the PlayStation 4's life cycle. You have all these huge titles, and then you have something like Spider-Man, which is, that transcends Sony, right? As much as we love
You're right.
God of War, Spider-Man is arguably the most popular Marvel character ever made.
let me bring something anecdotal again into this conversation. I've asked several people that I know who are avid gamers, and this is how the conversation typically goes. Have you played Spider-Man? They're like, yes. I said, is it better than God of War? And they always kind of shuffle their feet and look down and they go, yeah.
It's a different kind of better.
It's completely anecdotal, like I said.
And maybe we're
But
forgetting
it's like-
how much
Why
we
don't you ask
love
me?
Is
God
it
of
better
War.
than God of War? See?
No.
But it locks you up a little bit.
Well,
You think about
remember, I said this year, I thought there were 2 games in my mind whenever God of War came out, and I said that was 10. That was my game of the
That's
year
the
so
game
far.
to beat.
I said those were the 2 games I thought. One was Spider-Man. One we'll talk a little bit in the news here.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you're right. Yeah.
I said those are the most likely ones, and I definitely think it hit a high note. It did not drop the bar. Is it quite as revolutionary as God of War? No, but I think it's like, if you ask me which character I would rather get lost in for 30 hours, right? I'm always, because my personal biases, I'm going to go with Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. Kratos, this is the best Kratos I've ever had in the game. I'll agree to that. But Spider-Man,
he was also very complimentary.
yeah, Spider-Man is Spider-Man's up there for just characters from comic books that I love.
Well,
and I think that's most people.
You say innovate, and I think I know what you mean.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't know that God of War innovated anything. It did a lot of things well. I mean, you could say the axe was a sheer brilliance, but
that's the big thing I would say.
But I would argue that swinging through New York City was the biggest innovation.
Well, see, the big thing for me is I've had that experience to some degree before.
You think you have?
Yeah. I mean, like, Spider-Man 2 gave me that sensation. I've never had that sensation of the axe. And that's unfair to Spider-Man, because it's not
what your
something
next sensation is going to be?
Original thing. But playing, the first time you throw that axe in that game, and
that
you're like,
feels
that was
good.
Yeah, that feels good. And then, like, when you
feels real good.
Or the first time you throw the axe, you're like, that was tight. And then when you call it back and it goes through someone as you recall it and pops in your hand, you're like, oh yeah,
that sounds really dirty.
Yeah,
but I think the next innovation for you is going to be the Sparta kick.
I'm going to do that everywhere.
You walk through town, you kick a child. This is Sparta.
Pretty much. I'm going to be really ticked off if they turn around and they say, like, you can't do that to people.
Yeah.
Is it time to keep going? Is it my turn or your turn?
It's your turn. It's your turn.
Yeah, you did the...
Am I on top
I'll set you up. Hey, John, you know what else sounds good? Symphonies.
Really? Well,
that's what you're
speaking
going
of symphonies,
Boo.
A collection. He just booed himself. A collection of Castlevania games featuring Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood is seemingly heading to PlayStation 4. The game has received a rating courtesy of the Game Rating and Administration Committee of Korea, indicating that a collection of favorites is on the way. So far, only PS4 is listed as the console, and there's no word on whether the collections are getting the remastered treatment. One is left to wonder if Symphony of the Night will be included in the PlayStation Classic roster at this point.
Yeah, that'd be another
It's possible.
See, that's many people's. I mean, everybody has their list of PlayStation #1 games, but that's many people's at the top of their list.
Yeah, I can't get past that. The Game Rating and Administration Committee of Korea, their acronym is GRAC.
That's only you, man.
I like how they're the official leakers of things coming for the world. It's always Korea that lets you know, like, by the way, this was listed.
Yeah,
it means it's coming.
Well, see, my thing is,
What's happening under my table right now?
Penny found some peanut butter. Just ignore it.
I've got Symphony.
It's not finally this week yet, Chris. What happened?
I've got Symphony of the Night on some platform this generation.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of the constant re-releases of this game. I wish they'd just do a remaster.
I will say...
It's already a beautiful game. I get that. But a fresh coat of paint... I'd love that.
Because of how many times that game's been released, I wonder if that's why it may not be on the PlayStation Classic roster, just because it's like, you can get that game literally everywhere.
Kind of like Mario Brothers.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not exclusive, right?
Yeah. You right. You're right.
Yeah.
You know what you can't get everywhere?
Oh, here we go.
Sean,
set me up, Chris.
Sean, the past couple of weeks, I've had a twitch in my eye.
Oh, speaking of Twitch.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah. Twitch blocked in China. Twitch has been blocked in China despite an increase in its popularity.
I think it's because of an increase.
Yeah. The app has been removed from mobile app stores. It's also unavailable to obtain via a website. Last month, Twitch became the third most downloaded free app on the iOS App Store. This can be attributed to the Asian Games, an esports event where Twitch was the most used method of viewing. It's been speculated that this is China cracking down on perceived gaming addiction. Thoughts?
I'm interested to see what happens. Like, we know with MOBAs, the people of the Asias, they love the MOBAs, right? And I wonder what's going to happen. Next year, the international for Dota is going to Shanghai for the first time ever. They've never gone to the West. I'm wondering what the heck they're going to do when everyone in China wants to watch this and it's broadcasted on Twitch. Like, what is their option here? Because
I don't know. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. It's, from my understanding, this is pretty much par for the course for them. Like, they've blocked things, other pretty much big places of opinion and expression when they've gained a lot of notoriety. Just because, that's China, right? So,
well, a couple of weeks ago, Casey, friend of the show, called me out for a couple of episodes back. We were talking about something got blocked in Australia, and I went into this tirade about how we really need to appreciate where we live in the United States because that doesn't happen here. So I'm not going to lecture anybody about freedom this time.
Oh, freedom isn't free.
Freedom is not free.
Takes folks like you, mate.
Those commie bears.
You know what's also a place of freedom?
I feel, hold on. I feel really dead inside.
Oh, there you go.
Do you feel like purple or blue?
Do you want to go online with those feelings? I'm sorry.
You don't know where I'm going, do you, Sean?
I do, because I was going to let you say, no, I feel Red Dead, you dummy.
There was no way to get there.
Yeah, because
I failed.
I didn't.
I just like that you're the one that's going to read about this.
Yeah.
You stupid dummy head.
I am not incredibly bright. You're right about that.
But
Red
apparently
Dead.
he's right 93% of the time, huh?
Stupid people are right all the time. Red Dead Online. Rockstar Games has revealed that it will release an online multiplayer. Shocking.
I'm in.
Online multiplayer component to Red Dead Redemption 2, simply called Red Dead Online.
I'm in.
The service is set to launch sometime in November of 2018, and the service will take elements of Red Dead's original multiplayer, quote, much further and combine that with everything we've learned in the years since then with our favorite elements from Grand Theft Auto Online, unquote.
Goodness.
Yeah, wow.
In bonus news,
man.
it was announced that you can play the entire Red Dead Redemption 2 campaign in first-person mode, even though the game will only sell about 1.5 million copies.
What? Yeah, so this week was like official Red Dead pull back the curtain week.
Can I just tell you how gross and obnoxious that was?
I mean, it's smart.
I haven't seen a single game get covered like that. It was disgusting.
They were smart. I mean, that's what they do. They restrict you forever. Like the only other time
it wasn't just one feature on Red Dead. It was article after article after article all day long. And that's what gets people thinking, which it's not true, but that's what gets people thinking that the game is rigged.
I mean,
What do you mean rigged? Elaborate.
Pay for good coverage.
Are they paying? I mean, like
it's not true. I just said that. It's not true. But that's what gets people.
But this is what they always do.
It's just like, good Lord, guys.
If you look at the history of...
Give me a feature on Red Dead. Tell me everything you want instead of dropping 2 days worth of articles on Red Dead. No game has a chance when you do that.
So you're upset that
Not
you're
upset,
critical of the fact that video game sites might do things to get as many views as possible, or I should say clicks as possible.
You didn't see it as a little bit obnoxious?
I mean, I took
He's
what
gonna
it
say
was.
no. He's going to say no.
Look, I mean, I don't want tons and tons of coverage, but I understood it was going to happen because for the first time you gave everyone 2 hours to play around this world. And the only other time that anyone even got to see this game in person was IGN, and I think also GameSpot got invited back around E3 up to their studios to watch them play, not even get to play. But that said, yeah, there was a lot of stuff, man. Everything that was released is just like impressions. I was like, I'm ready for this to get here. We kind of knew Red Dead Online was coming. They casually mentioned it in the pre-order stuff that like
Yeah,
there
I
was
didn't think it
things
was coming that soon.
Yeah. Now the cool thing, I do like they seem to have said they've learned a little bit, because most people forget, like when GTA Online launched, it had tons of issues. Remember, they had to do the like early player reward system because there were so many broken parts of it, where like you got something like 5 million in GTA cash online for being an early player. So what they've said they're doing this time is that when it launches in November, which I really appreciate that they're doing this, like it launches a month after the game, so you will have time to play the full game before you go online. But like they basically said, until they feel comfortable, they're launching it kind of like a beta. So they're not putting everything that is eventually going to be in there, but obviously they seem to be hinting again that much like with GTA Online, we know that this game the main game is going to have kind of like heist in the equivalent of like gang activities that you go do big missions. And they seem to be hinting that once they do go with the main online, that will be coming in. You'll be able to just group up with all your friends and like, you know, maybe go rob a bank or like, I don't know.
Do stuff.
Yeah. Go across, you know, the different areas. But the big thing I'm hearing this week, apparently this game is freaking just humongous. Like there are parts of this game that they're like, look, I've seen people were talking like, I've seen all the preview stuff they've released, and they took me to places in this demo I had never seen or even had a hint that they existed. The most important thing though, confirmed, because they're going for realism, every horse has a stallion, has a Richard, right? And the way you know it's a stallion is that there's two little Richards that hang below the big Richard. Apparently,
you didn't see that, John? Yeah, that was released too.
Beautiful 4K.
Oh wait, no, this is important. Just like in real life, and this is true, I can attest to this. If you go to a cold area, the little Richards will lift up into the animal, and then if you go to a warmer area, they will sag down lower, as they do in real life. And just that amount of realism that's in there, I'm like, I didn't need that. I don't need.
Well, speaking of realism, I was kind of thought the feature. I think it was thought bubbles that pop up in the game, so you can. It adds a more comedic experience. Did you read about this?
Don't think that sounds like a comedic thing. Like, so the idea from what I'm reading is everything in this game, apparently, like the left trigger is the most important thing, because like on one hand, when you got your guns out, it's aiming, right? But like apparently anything in the world, as you're walking around, you don't have your gun out, you just hold down the left trigger and it gives you different interactions you can do. So like if you walk up to your horse and you hold down your horse,
really? Right? Like Jesus,
and you hold down left trigger, you could pet it, you could brush it, you could, you could give them a treat or whatever. If you're talking
do you
to
give
someone,
horses treats?
Well, yeah. Hey,
if you see someone,
what's up?
Like,
carrots.
If you see something, it will naturally give you someone, like you can naturally pick a conversation to have with them with no break or whatever. And apparently your choices change depending on, one, your perception around town, and two, more importantly, like how drunk you are and the way you look. Like if you're drunk, obviously you're not going to be a very nice, polite, and well-spoken person versus,
Sean,
someone else.
Are you going to play this game?
Probably.
Okay, good.
Are you going to play this game?
I'd love to.
We'll play it.
That's a no.
But I haven't touched Red Dead.
You don't need to. It's pretty cool.
I didn't play the other one.
That's not how I operate. You know that. It's
Well, that's not your way.
I believe you. I believe you. My brain don't work that way.
Well,
I have to play
It'll
the
confuse
thing
you.
that came before.
It'll confuse you.
Well, then start playing it.
Yeah.
Playing the first game would confuse me.
No, I mean,
watch a video.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
Sorry.
with this being a prequel, play this one first, then play the other one. It'll make sense.
That's not how it works.
You won't be confused.
That's not how it works.
You won't be confused.
Knowing them,
You cannot watch the prequel Star Wars
You want to bet?
before the original trilogy.
You want to bet?
Yes.
I would say maybe it might matter a little bit for John Marston, but it might give you an idea of how he gets.
John changed his last name?
It may tell you how he gets to the start of this.
Yeah.
But I feel like the events that are in this game is more of like just giving you the context. Like the first game is John really hunting down, not really by choice, members of this gang that are still around for most of it, and it's like years after the events, right? I'm guessing it's not going to be so much about like why he's doing it as it is just to show you like how close that bond was to them and everyone in this gang back when they were in their prime.
The character in the first game is John Marston?
Yes.
Okay, here's what's going to happen at the end of Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay.
John Marston's going to be on Tatooine. He's going to look.
He's going to give someone a baby into us.
He's going to see the 3 moons. Suns.
He can't in this one because he's in the other one.
Yeah.
Don't be dumb.
And I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I don't know why that's significant.
Maybe watch a video. There's a, like
you have no idea how badly I want to play this game. I just can't.
Yes, you can.
I got to play. Shut up, Chris.
What did you say?
That was.
I mean, you could like. Did you play? Let's put it this way. Did you play? Look, did you play the history of Assassin's Creed in its order? No, but you're fine.
John, don't even, his head shook. He don't even know what that means.
It's consistently out of order. Like the whole entire series itself is out of order.
But you know, do you understand the idea of contextualization?
Whoa!
If a prequel shows you something on screen, you have to know what happened in the future for that to matter in the prequel.
I guess I don't know. Like
George Lucas, as bad as people might think those films are, he wrote the rule book on prequels.
Sure.
He invented the concept, and you see images and hints and things like.
Sure.
And you know that's from them. You know what's going to happen in the future, and that plays into prequels.
I guess, Sean, you played most of the GTAs, right? Mm-hmm. And you know there are certain characters that carry over in those worlds.
Indeed.
And you see them at different points in their history.
Indeed.
I feel like you could skip one of those and not know everything that goes on, and you'd be just as fine. Like I guess, you might miss a couple little things, but
I know what you're saying. Yeah. I'm just saying, like playing Assassin's Creed Origins. The fact that the first time you see the hook blade and it cuts off his finger.
Mm-hmm. What?
That has less significance.
Sure.
If you didn't play the previous games.
But the thing that makes that game great isn't that, right?
Of course not.
Yeah. And I guess that's why I'd say I'm like, just give it a shot, see if you like it, and then maybe that will give you
I do want to see some horse dong.
Exactly. And apparently you can have there was one person who was playing and he said like I was there with my 2 buddies and we went to this ridge and it was all scenic and I had the cinematic view on and I was getting ready to take a picture and all of a sudden my horse perfectly on the dime all started pooping.
I was wondering if they did that too. Their tail lifts up, flutters a little bit.
I was like, yes.
Well, I don't know if this game will reach 50 million in sales.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah,
it'll probably be the number 1 selling game when it comes out.
There's a game that actually shows no sign of slowing down, and it did reach 50 million sales.
Really?
John. Yeah, Rocket League.
Holy crap!
Developer, say it for me, John. Psyonix. Yeah. Ooh. Revealed that Rocket League has surpassed 50 million total players. From their official Twitter account, that means it has the check. Quote, Thank you for I'm so stupid. Thank you to our ever-growing global community for helping us reach this incredible milestone, end quote. The content keeps growing as well with the new Rocket Pass progression system, as well as an upcoming celebration of the 50th anniversary of Hot Wheels. Yes, those Hot Wheels. Ooh. With the release of new cars from that Hot Wheels toy line. That'll be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Rocket League is fun, man, and people, as they get older, their siblings possibly, or maybe their dad played Rocket League and then they finally get their own console and that's what the dad lets them play, or their brother, who knows? I mean, Minecraft in my house right now is still a big thing.
I would, you can make a case that
these kind of games
behind Minecraft, Rocket League might be the second most successful indie game ever released. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to think of things. Of course, Minecraft today isn't an indie game, but for pretty much its first 5 years, it was.
True that.
Yeah.
John, you want? What game did you beat this week?
We're not setting this one up at all, John.
Yeah.
Just say Diablo's coming to Netflix. Let's do it.
If rumors are to be believed, a Diablo animated series could be heading to Netflix.
What?
According to Andrew Cosby from a deleted tweet,
3 to 10.
He was in final talks.
Roommate's name from college.
He was in final talks to helm the show for Activision Blizzard and Netflix. Ooh. It's very exciting, and I hope to the high heavens.
I see what they did there.
That it all works out. Netflix, however, has refused to comment on this rumor.
Oh, well, there's
feels
smoke, there's
weird.
fire.
Well, since I've beaten Diablo,
Yeah.
I'm now an expert in it,
How are you?
and I would love to see this.
I would love it. But I will say, like, Diablo's never been a game that has been, like, championed for the most groundbreaking, greatest story or anything like that. Like, the narrative isn't what drives that fan.
But there's a
right?
backbone to it that they can
Yeah.
turn into something.
Yeah, they can
Yeah.
definitely do some.
That's a good way to put it. I mean, because when the cutscenes would come on, they were
Yeah.
Blizzard quality. Blizzard.
But it's not like
Blizzard.
I never felt the connection that I did like to the characters of WoW or even StarCraft. I mean, if we're talking about things,
For just being real. Overwatch.
or yeah,
You
especially
couldn't- You couldn't even
Overwatch,
get
yeah.
that out fast enough. Your eyes
Well,
got big and
actually,
everything.
Casey, Overwatch.
I'll tell you, when I finish this game, I wanted to start my own character so bad.
Get it on
do
PlayStation
it.
and let's do it.
All right, yeah, we have it on PlayStation.
All right, well, let's do it.
I'll get you
Yeah.
the 70 in like 20
I
minutes.
kind of want to do it myself.
I do too.
There's something to
Let's do
that.
it.
By the way, Chris,
See,
what's the
that's
name of your necromancer?
I can't remember right now.
Yeah, you
'cause-
can. Do you want us to help you?
Yeah. I can't remember. It's been so
I don't
long.
remember it. I just know
Yeah.
it's very unique.
Yeah. Something schmuck. Dead schmuck? I think that might be what it is.
Dead?
Because, yeah, I have like that muscular schmuck. Agile schmuck. Crusading schmuck.
Who's the agile schmuck?
The hunter.
The demon hunter?
No, just the hunter. The hunter.
Yeah, there's no demon hunter.
There is a demon hunter.
Not
Yeah,
with
there
Chris.
is a demon
Not with
hunter.
Chris.
Or maybe it is, I guess, a demon.
It's just, I know you just beat the game, John. My apologies. Let's stay here till the thing that he does happens.
Finally this week. I said, finally this week.
Halo updates on loot boxes.
Yay.
Despite recent assertions, 343 Industries has confirmed they will not sell Halo Infinite loot boxes for real currency. In response to a tweet from a fan who expressed disappointment over loot boxes, studio head Chris Lee responded with the following, quote,
Christopher Lee?
keep the faith. It's appreciated. I didn't say that right. He had an exclamation point. Keep the faith. It's appreciated. We're still working through final plans and we'll share more when we are ready. But I can definitely say that Halo Infinite will not include real money loot boxes. End quote.
I will say they didn't technically have real money loot boxes in the last one.
Right.
They had currency, which you could buy.
Oh, I
that
should
you
play
could
that
also
game
earn.
too, John.
And then you could spend it on the loot boxes. But either way, I've kind of said, like, I think it's a non-issue just because their loot boxes aren't really designed around gameplay. They're designed about, kind of like Forza. Forza doesn't have loot boxes per se, but it has
you can
like
buy
the
stuff.
No, it has like the
You can buy stuff.
there is the gambling element where there are certain packs that you can go out there and buy. But like there's
snack
the
packs.
like whenever you level up, you have the kind of like big gambling casino. What are they called? Freaking
Yeah.
with the coins you put them in.
slot machines.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like that comes up and
That's
you
why
get
I'm here,
different.
Chris.
You get different rewards out of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Let me
I don't
ask
think
you
it's a
this.
big issue.
Let me ask you this. Probably just a random question because that's what I do. Game you're more excited about? Fallout 76 or Halo Infinite?
Probably Halo Infinite just because it's been a while for. Thank you.
I thought it.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a while since we played a Halo game. Fallout 76 looks fun, but I'm not lying to myself in the fact that when I look at this, the only unique thing to me is the fact that it's always online, right?
Yeah.
And nukes.
And nukes.
Yeah, well, but the core gameplay itself, I mean, there's been nukes in every single Fallout game.
But they're more accessible now, I think.
They are. And
Are they more accessible? Or
if y'all come in my
is the
world,
perception that they're more accessible?
that's the question.
Oh, you just baked my noodle.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say the big thing for Fallout 76 is that it looks like a true extension off of Fallout 4.
Right.
Kind of like the way
Terrible
New
game.
Vegas was for
Terrible
Fallout
game.
3.
Worst game ever.
It was not.
Game of the year. No,
Terrible. It's terrible.
Your brother liked it.
Talk about my brother again. I was literally saying that your brother liked it. I was just literally trying to say a thing.
You guys want to wrap this up?
Never.
No.
What was that? Emails. If you want to write in, oh wow, it's still playing. But if you want to write in your thoughts and opinions, you can do so by contacting us at weeklygameschat@gmail.com. That's weeklygameschat@gmail.com. Just like Simon did. He was a little critical in his email, because apparently I had some background noise here last week. But he says, Dear Weekly Games Chat, in the last episode, the noise sounded like Bruce Bolton cutting off Reels Richard.
Reeks Richard.
Reeks Richard. I remember that part. Also, you guys going to do an AC Odyssey episode?
No.
And why no Dragon Quest 11 episode?
Because it sucks.
Dang. Okay. Love your show. Keep up the amazing work. Yeah, sorry, Simon. I totally forgot.
Did you mess something up again?
Nah, it's just like with the background noise, usually it does go by, and if there's not a lot, I don't try to hunt it out, because it's like 2 hours to find the one little thing. There was only one blip of it last week, and I guess, apparently.
This is the one. This is the one you want to bring up.
Simon, I turned off the AC this week, so there should not be.
We're sweating balls here for you, Simon.
Are we going to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey?
Yes.
I think John would kill us if we didn't.
Why
don't we play Dragon Quest 11? Mainly because I don't think any of us played 1 through 10 at any point. So,
well, I know Dragon Quest 11 has not. I mean, I think most of the games are single one-off games.
They are.
But we tried to get. There's a friend of the show who was considering playing it. We were wanting to have that person on, but. Well, yeah. But to be honest with you, Spider-Man just drowned out this game.
Yeah.
And that's not a knock on the game. Dragon Quest got really good reviews overall.
Yeah. So, that's fair. Next up. No, that's the one for, I gotta make sure I'm reading the right one. Yeah, these are, David wrote in. He's a long time writer.
First time? No.
I always have to scroll through because he always uses the same email.
Replies,
so I have to make sure I have the right.
You're down there. It was from September.
It's down at the bottom.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah,
right there.
Yeah, there it is. Okay. Fellas. It's been a while.
It has, David.
I like the way, it took me a second. I was like, got it. He says, I gotta say, as much as it hurts to hear Chris sound a bit bummed from relinquishing his duty as anchorman, no. John and Shaun, you did a great job with the news.
Thank you, sir.
Also, it was fun hearing the roles reversed as Chris, for the first time, got to play the role of judger and injector when you guys read.
Interjector, Chris. This is why you don't read anymore.
What?
Yep.
Huh? It was truly a treat.
There it was again.
But it wasn't subjective quality of reading that made me think this was a good move for the show. It was the fact that John stayed engaged till the very end. Hey, see? I knew I made the right call on this. I pondered why this may have been the case, and it occurred to me, it's because you gave his brain something to do. John, have you ever been officially diagnosed with ADD?
What if he's talking about me, but he's thinking it's you? It's possible.
But John always checks out during the news.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Have you ever been diagnosed with ADD? If not, I apologize to presumptuous psychoanalysis, particularly when ours is a parasocial relationship. Well, kinda. I mean, I do write you guys from time to time. Just making some observations from a couple of years of listening to y'all interact and discerning some similarities between you and yours truly. If I'm off, feel free to give me a verbal berating and a virtual Richard beating over the air. Also, I owe you a couple of natty lights. That's hilarious.
I'm back in.
Keep up the great work, guys. You remain the highlight of my earbud week. and to any new
Jesus,
listeners,
Chris.
give it time. Weekly Games Chat is a fine wine of a podcast. Also, leave a 5-star review. Your pal Dave in Japan. I mean, Northern Virginia. P.S. I was exercising when I heard John, Chris, and I had to stop my current exercise from laughing when Shaun followed up with, "You see, Johning someone is." I literally fell off the machine.
David rules.
I don't remember that.
John,
Well, because you checked out, so it's probably fine.
John, do you have ADD? I grew up with ADD, so
I don't think
you
I have
have
ADD.
I grew up,
I grew up,
I was that first generation of kids who were getting I started off on the Ritalin, and then I went to the,
You had
what's
Ritalin?
what's the one after Ritalin that's probably the
Weirdo?
most popular one? I can't remember the name.
Adderall.
Yes, I had Adderall, and that apparently still didn't do the,
Adderall
trick.
didn't touch you?
No, so they gave me this thing called Dexaphene or something I can't remember the name. It's been so long since I've been on this stuff.
It's been a while.
It basically
Crack?
for 8 hours would make me I would take it at 7:00 in the morning, and then by 7:30 I would just zone out, would not talk to anyone, and would pick up whatever the thing was that I needed to do, and would focus in. It worked for me, but it also made me at times very antisocial.
I didn't know that about you. Thanks for sharing, Chris.
Yeah. Fun fact. But yeah, that's all of our emails that we're reading
today?
this week.
Indeed.
Winkety wink wink.
Winkety wink wink, huh?
Yeah, I don't know.
But
If you want to reach us on other places like Facebook and Twitter, which is at Weekly Games Chat, you could listen to Shaun read your thoughts like he's about to now.
first up, we had a tweet from old Hydraberg. What's up, good sir? At Weekly Games Chat, any intent to cover Destiny 2 Forsaken? I know Shaun, thank you for the proper name spelling, sir, doesn't play it anymore, but Bungie has done a fantastic job turning around the mistakes made with the first year of D2. The level variety and art design is awesome, and that new raid looks like a beast. I replied and said, maybe I'll return. We'll see. I've heard good stuff, and we might just need a topic for the week coming up. I'll talk to Chris and John. Thanks for reaching out, good sir.
Yes, sir.
Let me scroll up a little bit here with my little fat thumb on my phone. At Gaming God said, at Weekly Games Chat, I know I haven't wrote in a while. It's been a while. I still listen to you guys daily and still support you. See, this comes from when Chris was all worried about people not writing in. But thank you. I will write in a week or two. School has been really my main focus. We told you, Chris, the past 3 or 4 weeks. Game on. Game on, sir. I can't. Y'all gonna say game on to Gaming God?
Game on.
Indeed. There's a lot of mentions by Insane Scyther Gaming and at 4P Gaming. Thank you so much for the love. John and Chris are looking at, what are y'all looking at? Me or that?
I don't know. There's something I don't get.
Okay.
Sorry, I have ADD.
Yeah, it's cool. You just totally derailed everything I wanted to do, but I'm messing with you, John. It's cool. Don't get your panties in a wad. I got to go way up here for the next thing. So I tweeted out, what did I tweet? Oh yeah.
John laughed.
Why is that
So
funny?
I tweeted out,
John's gone to John laugh mode.
I don't know. Wait a minute. I have no idea why that's funny. It
I'll
just
get off there.
got me tickled.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
So I tweeted out
blasphemous.
the new Death Stranding trailer from TGS 2018, which featured Troy Baker. It's been revealed. It looked awesome.
Still looks trashy.
It looks, that little spinny thing looks amazing. John, you're crazy. And our good friend at David_McClendon said, what the F? I must play this game. Those were his thoughts every time he saw or sees something new. So I don't know if you guys are excited, but I'm kind of excited for the game. The more I see about it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, I tweeted a thing about how the Nintendo 64 analog stick works. It's a pretty cool little animation.
Ooh.
Showing inside the controller how it worked and whatnot.
That's cool.
Our friend at Carl Hayes 21 said, I picked up the OEM controllers on the cheap and cleaned them and put a new stick in. Such a good feeling it is when
I
you
meant
put
to
new
share
sticks
something
in.
on there. I didn't do it. It was pretty good.
Our friend at Baldy Pal.
Baldy Pal.
He said, at Weekly Games Chat, I'm pissed at Nintendo America, and they probably don't care. I paid $60 on release day for hashtag Splatoon 2, and now a year later they mandate a subscription to play it. Bad business. This should have been a Splatoon 3 change instead of making my game worthless now.
Okay. May I respond to that?
You can.
Grow up.
Is that all you want to say?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
I can see his point and I can understand the frustration, but let's not forget PlayStation did this too. They made online gaming free when they first announced the PlayStation 3. Then they introduced a $60 a year subscription. This is $19 a year. Think about how much that is per day. Think about how much that is per week.
He followed up with, by the way, at Nintendo America, I bought hashtag Splatoon 2 for my 8-year-old son, whom I very closely monitored online play. Now you've made any online play a no-go for me and him on the Switch. Seriously pissed. Hashtag greedy bastages. Hashtag it was his favorite.
Dang.
That's too bad. I'm sorry he feels that way.
Yeah, he's not.
But it is time for Nintendo to get better with online, and that takes money.
Our good friend
It's
Loki,
just a fact.
at Hell Teacher Loki, I believe last week I mentioned that I wanted or had started watching Jack Ryan. You had previously said you watched Jack Ryan.
Loved it.
All of that talk got him going. He says at Weekly Games Chat. So I watched Jack Ryan because I heard one of you guys talk about it in one of the podcast episodes. I binged. It was so good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Loki, you're welcome, and we hope all the are gone.
Where are you at on Jack Ryan?
I have one more episode. It's okay. It's not. It's not.
definitely,
It's not 24.
No, I mean, it's Jack Ryan. It's a lot closer. And I gave him a lot of credit because I was like, wow, they actually did do Jack Ryan like he is in the books. Like, he's everything he's a former Marine who was in, had a thing happen to him. He's a economics professor from Boston that's an analyst, and he's dating the same girl from all of that is in there. And then it's still told its own unique story that's kind of set in today's atmosphere. I imagine if Tom Clancy were launching Jack Ryan today, he probably would have written something like this instead of, say, like The Hunt for Red October.
Couple of follows that I want to follow back. At Expert Zappy, console player, PS4, and Twitch personality. Thank you for the follow, following you back. And at Brown Bear 2423, hashtag Bodega Hive. Thank you so much for the follow, following you back. I'm not sure if we do, but Chris, did we have anything on Facebook you wanted to share, or did you want to just go ahead and...
No, we didn't really have any humongous posts on there. Let me just check.
double check.
Yeah, I'll check real quick. I mean, the only one I remember noting was when Clay was like, no, to NBA 2K.
That's awesome. Make sure we got nothing.
It loads so quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Well, it's because there's a storm brewing outside.
There's a storm brewing.
There's a snake in my boots.
I need to tell you a funny anecdote about that line later. I can't really say it here.
Snake in my boots?
Yeah. It's about work.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it, yeah. Josh Drago wrote in and said, hey, when I posted the Shadow of Tomb Raider episode from last week, he said, I am now on the bandwagon of Nintendo. I pre-ordered the Smash Bros. Switch bundle. Haven't played a Nintendo game since the NES, and N64. I didn't like the consoles after N64, so my question is, what games do you recommend? Only want to buy games that are only on the Switch. Thank you, Hobbits, and long live Sauron. Thumbs up.
Can y'all not appreciate that he gave Lord of the Rings references to you guys?
Right.
Can y'all do a quick spiel, or is that too much to ask? Okay.
Bring me wood and oil.
Oh, Sam.
You stand for no one. Or no, you bow to no one.
I need a you shall not pass.
Shall not pass.
That really tickles him.
The ring cannot stay here.
Because Chris he doesn't move a lot, right? He does a head bob every once in a while, but when he hits the U from the U shot,
he does like this.
Well, because I know I'm getting loud, I'm trying to move.
You got to belt it out there.
but there's a whole thing that goes on. It's perfect.
The obvious ones to me, if you want something recent, like RPGs, would be Octopath.
Absolutely.
But the big ones, I mean, you definitely should get Breath of the Wild, you definitely should get Super Mario Odyssey. Those are the two.
No, Mario Kart 8.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Sorry. Forgot that.
Yeah.
So 3.
Splatoon 2.
No, I'm trying to think of what's just on Nintendo. Splatoon 2 is very fun if you want that shooter.
Mario plus Rabbids is an excellent get. I would recommend that to anybody.
If you want to get lost in an RPG for years of your life, Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Faux show.
Yeah.
You can't just play that game as a whatever.
If you like the Dynasty Warrior type games and you like Zelda Hyrule Warriors, or I believe there's also Fire Emblem Warriors. Those are both out there. So there's a plethora of things you can go out there and play.
I like that you just said plethora. I got to be honest.
You're welcome.
Plus, I know he said exclusives, but
no, he said
Skyrim is the only way to play on the Switch.
Did you say that backwards?
Probably.
Yeah, it's probably fine. Speaking of plethora, there's not a plethora of minutes left on this show.
No.
I'll go ahead and put that out there.
It's time for our second topic. FIFA 19.
FUT is amazing. It returns to glory.
Let's talk about Alex and his journey.
That's a girl.
Is it?
Alex Morgan's a girl.
Is it?
Yeah.
No, from the other FIFAs, they did the thing.
Oh.
It's a guy.
Okay.
His name is Alex, I think.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
Because Alex Morgan is on, she's an alternate cover.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. She's cool.
Team USA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is it we're so good at like women's soccer, but not real soccer?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
Anyways, this has been episode, I believe, 172.
What?
Of Weekly Games Chat.
That is insane.
Not sure what the heck we're going to talk about next week. We got to figure that one out.
We got some things.
Yeah, we got a couple of things that were like kicking around, but tune in to find out.
I'm pretty sure I can make the VR thing happen.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure.
That said, if you like the show, subscribe to us on iTunes or whatever podcast service you want to use, and you'll get a new episode every Wednesday, just like this one. If you're there and they have a rating system, it's probably 5 stars. Maybe it's 10. If you like the show, why don't you give us that rating? And if you hate the show, the universal sign of hate is to take whatever the top score is and subtract 1. That way, everyone knows we suck. Right, John?
Yeah.
Or
scientifically proven.
Divide it by 2.
What? And double it?
And then double it.
Double it.
Double it. If you would like to write in your thoughts and opinions, again, you can write us in at weeklygameschat@gmail.com. And if you want to follow us on the social media, we are on both the Twitter and Facebooks, both at Weekly Games Chat. And if you want to listen to us at work on, say, a site like such as YouTube, you can actually find us on there too. Every now and then we may consider streaming something, but maybe I feel like when I do Red Dead, I'm just going to stream that game
just all the time, yeah.
for like the next 3 years. They're like, when did this become a Red Dead channel? I don't know.
Did you steal my pop socket?
Did you?
You son of a...
No.
Until next time, though, I will simply say game on, Sean.
Game on, Chris.
Game on, John.
Game on, Chris and Sean.
Game on, John.
Okay. Your mom's box.
What just happened?
Did I do something?
No, I'm waiting for you to I said your mom's box.
Oh, you said, well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was just the way you said it. It was like, oh, okay.
Too fast?
Yeah.
I'll go slow. I'll go slower.
You're
next
like, game on, Chris. Or no, you went like, game on, Chris. And
I'll
then
go
like
slower
you
next time.
paused and then you went, and Sean.
Sometimes I'm quick.
Most times you're
I've
quick,
heard
John.
that from certain sources.
Who? What's his name?
Dang.
Peace out, everybody.
Thug Life.
Worst sign off ever.
I forgot it.
All right.